Well, good morning and welcome to Friday. It is January 12th, and I'm Monica Adams. You are tuned in to the Real Monica Adams Show. We are so thrilled to have each and every one of you. It's a Friday, and hey, do you have plans this weekend? Are you going to actually be able to get to those plans? That's what's going to be interesting. So, we've been talking about the weather for the last couple of weeks as we got into this week. Are we going to get snow? Are we going to get ice? Is it going to be sleeting? Are you going to be able to get to those outside plans? Do you have young kids that are saying, Mom, I've got to go and see my friends? I've got a new date. Oh my gosh, all those things. Can they get to it? Do you have a new driver out there? I hope you have taught them how to drive in bad weather. If not, we're going to see just how bad it's going to be. So, thank each and every one of you for being a part of the show. And of course, you can see the gratitude to our title sponsor, everyone that's come on board with us. It's almost been a year since the dream and the vision came about on March 1st. And speaking of vision, let me remind you that today is the last day of the early bird pricing for this Cultivating a Vision for 2024. Part two. If you missed part one, it's okay. If you'd like to get that recording, it is available to you. You can just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. I can get you that recording so you can be caught up. You're not going to be behind if you don't have it, but it might really help you when you come to the second vision night. So if you want that, just again, here, maybe put my email address on the screen for you. Reach out. I can send it to you. And then you'll want to be there that night on the 24th, January 24th, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Central Time. We are going to really cultivate the vision for what you need in your life. We're also going to unpack 2023. So Cassius Satars and myself, if you haven't signed up yet, please do so. I would hate for you to have to pay more, but the pricing will go up after today. All right, it is 7:02. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I've got my former Fox 2 colleague and very dear friend, Dan Gray, who's going to join me today. We're going to reminisce about old times. We'll talk about how many fun things we've done together personally, how he married me. But if you Google it, it says he's married to me. What? What the heck is going on there? We will talk about his recent health battles that he's gone through. We'll talk about retirement, and we'll talk about a really cool place you can go to in Bourbon, Missouri. But I want to bring back on someone that you've already loved. We kicked things off earlier in the week with Beckette Moore. Beckette, if you don't know, is an aspiring meteorologist. And I grabbed some of these pictures. This is his cover photo. If you go to X, that top one, Chasing the Storms. The bottom one is when he was just a little kid 5 years ago, and there was snow in St. Louis coming, and he was already measuring the snow because that's what he wants to do. Beckette Moore is not in St. Louis. He has chased the storm, chased the blizzard. He's on the Navy Pier in Chicago. Beckette, hello. Can you hear us okay there?
Yes, we can. Good
Oh,
morning,
my
Monica.
Good morning to you. You have got to be cold. What's the temperature there right now, Beckette?
Around 32, 33 degrees, hovering there around freezing, but we still got those flakes falling.
Okay, so Beckette got into Chicago. He took the train, got in at 11 o'clock last night. And I said, Beckette, how much sleep did you get? And the answer is?
3 to 4 hours.
So welcome to our field. Don't expect to get a lot of sleep, especially as a meteorologist. He is going to understand what this is like. So you have your full-on ski gear. You look like you're getting ready to hit Colorado or Utah. It's coming down. Paint the picture for us of when you got into Chicago last night and what you're seeing there.
So when we got into Chicago, there wasn't much snow on the ground. Outside in the suburbs, though, from the winter storm that came through earlier, there was some snow, but now it's a whole different picture. We really started to see that heavy snow coming in around 5:30, and now we got around 3/4 of an inch. And think about it, it's only been snowing heavily to moderately at times for about an hour and 30 minutes. So in an hour and 30 minutes, we've already almost got an inch. If we continue to see that over the coming hours, we are really going to pick up those accumulations as the sun rises. And Monica, right behind me there, that's downtown Chicago. And on a normal day, you would be able to see the big skyscrapers, Willis Tower. But right now, you can't see that because visibility is significantly lowered here in Chicagoland because those winds are gusting to 40 to 50 miles an hour. Heavy snow, that coupled together, of course, is going to create near blizzard conditions. We are under a winter storm warning right now. That could change even to a blizzard warning later in the day. We'll just have to see.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, aspiring meteorologist Beckette Moore joining us from the Navy Pier in Chicago. You said this is the biggest project that you have covered so far, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you wanted to get there. You wanted to go out what you've been predicting earlier in the week, the blizzard conditions. Has it lessened at all from what you thought earlier in the week, or is it spot on with what you thought?
I'd say it's spot on. Here along the lakeshore, we could get a little less than areas to the west of the city. So I think here along the lakeshore, probably 7, 8 inches of snow is a good bet. But in the suburbs west of the city, could get up to 12 inches, maybe up to a foot. And if we overperform here in downtown, we could get up to a foot of snow. Blizzard conditions, of course, that's not going to be a good recipe.
Okay, so we're talking Chicago, we're talking Illinois. Now let's bring it home, Beckett. So what will we expect in the St. Louis area and across in the southern Illinois portion for today going into the weekend? And then what are you looking at for next week?
So in STL, today we are going to be seeing mostly rain with changeover, maybe 1 to 2 hours of some moderately heavy snow in the city. Could we get up to an inch in some places? Yes. We're probably not, again, going to affect those roadways we're just going to see on those grassy and elevated surfaces. Now, as we go into tomorrow and into Sunday, those temperatures are going to really drop, getting down to a high of probably around 10 degrees, maybe even less on Monday, so that Arctic air is going to be spilling in. High here in Chicago on Sunday and Monday going to be 2 to 3 degrees, and we could get into the negatives for our lows in both cities, Chicago and St. Louis. Those wind chills are just going to be terrible. You can get frostbite in less than 30 minutes. Going to be incredibly cold conditions in the Midwest next week.
And you know what? I'm so glad you said that, because that's really, from a news standpoint, all the years that myself and my guest that's going to be on today, Dan Gray, we've covered a lot in 30 years. For Dan, over 50 years? And so we've seen it all. You were in the beginning of as aspiring meteorologist to see these things. And you mentioned earlier in the week, this is your wheelhouse. This is what you love, snowstorms, right?
Yes. This is what I love.
Well, you are doing an incredible job. So going into Sunday night and Monday, do you think it's going to be a bad commute? Do you think there would be a problem with going out to dinner tonight? Oh, we just saw that behind you.
We just got thunder snow here.
I saw that. What do you think about that? Tell me what you think about a thunder snow.
Never seen that before.
Oh.
I don't know if you've seen the clip, but Jim Cantori's seen that before, and he's gone crazy, so it's pretty funny, but
okay, Becky,
he's probably going crazy right now.
Go crazy for me on camera.
Woo!
Oh, I love it. Jim Cantori, obviously from a national standpoint, one of his role models. He is the best. He gets down to, he's got the ski pants on, goes down to his knees. He freaks out. Again, those are the things that we're going to see Beckett do, because I can guarantee you this young gentleman will go very far in this career. So let's say that again. So plans for tonight, plans for the weekend, and then rush hour on Monday. Tell us how safe we think we'd be. Also tell all those drivers out there that think, oh, it's fine. Temperature-wise, though, it could freeze up, could it not?
In St. Louis or Chicago?
St. Louis.
So it's probably going to be pretty good. Just slick roads, so be careful. If we can get a heavy van to come through, that may be able to overcome those warm surface temperatures. So could we get maybe some coverage on those roads? Maybe, but that's unlikely. Your commute's probably going to be pretty good, actually, tonight. Not big impacts at all. Minor impacts, maybe even less than minor, really. And then going into Monday again, like we talked about earlier in the week, there's a chance for snow, but it looks like that's going to cliff us and go to the south, so you aren't expecting big impacts Sunday into Monday from that system.
Cold temperatures, though, we got to be careful.
Yeah, cold temperatures, definitely.
Yeah. So remember, before we wrap up, Beckett, remember my driveway. So am I needing to park down by the mailbox, or am I going to be okay?
I do it for good measure, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Beckett, if you want, we might join him again just to see if the conditions get a little worse out there, or how much measurable snow, because I know you like to do that. If you want to check back in with us in about a half hour, we'd love to see you.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Beckett. All right, again, that's Beckette Moore, aspiring meteorologist. Isn't he amazing? Truly incredible. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, my dear friend, former colleague at Fox 2, Dan Gray, will join us. He'll be in the leopard print stool when we return.
You are truly an incredible human being, and just what you're doing is so inspiring. This was really a cathartic experience for me. So I appreciate you, love you. It's been an honor to not only just be here on set with you, but just to sit in your presence. You inspire everyone around you, from your motivational speaking to your podcast here, to just being the human that you are.
It's just such a joy to be able to see you at this point in your career. Really following your passion, fulfilling your dreams, and encouraging other people to do the same.
I feel that I've been missing out. I believe God places people like you in people's lives for a reason. You have definitely been a God wing for me.
Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online envitahealthandwellness.com.
Welcome back. It is the Real Monica Adams Show. Look who's here. Oh, I've missed you.
Good to see
You
you.
look
Happy
incredible.
New Year. Thank you. So do you.
Happy New Year to you. It's been, I don't know how many years since the two of us have seen each other, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because we've done so much. And you're going to, through the next hour, you're going to see some of the fun antics that you and I have done together. Michelle Harmon, who is one of my dearest friends, and she moderates. A lot of you have gotten to know her in the comments. She's pulled a lot of pictures that are going to take you down memory lane. I know that you put some pictures in there for us as well. We're going to revisit old times. We're going to talk about, you may have, if you follow Dan, and I hope you do on social media, you know that he retired. You may know that he went through a health struggle, and you may know that he and his wife have a place in Bourbon, Missouri. There goes my earring again.
That's all right.
A wardrobe malfunction, Dan. It happens. No, don't get it. Don't.
That's all right. I got it.
It's not going to stay in the ear.
I don't want to step on it, you know?
Thank you. So for all of you throughout the next hour, if you have any questions for Dan, you have favorite memories, you've got a story that he covered over the last 5 decades that has really touched your heart, or you have any questions, like I said, for Dan, please let me know. Let's go walking back through memory
look
lane.
at this. Yeah,
Look
there we
at
go.
this, my friend.
Yeah.
First of all, let's say this because Marilyn, who is a regular watcher of the show, she said he's a North County boy. So
That's true.
Where'd you go to school?
Yeah, I grew up in Jennings.
And that's the top left
in North
picture,
St.
right?
That's a high school picture, yeah. And I went to Fairview High School. Not a lot of people have heard of Fairview High School.
Where was that?
It was in Jennings,
Okay.
one of 2 public high schools in Jennings at the time. Fairview has since closed. It merged with the Jennings High School, which is still operating. Jennings High is. But I was in the last graduating class at Fairview High School, which was 1969. And so after that, they closed the school and they merged with Jennings High School. So yeah, that's where I grew up. And
I love that.
Yeah,
See, we
North County boy.
I'm a North County girl. I was
Yeah.
in Florissant.
Yeah.
Went to Sacred Heart and St. Thomas Aquinas Mercy. So I love the fact that we have that North County roots. And then we're looking at pictures throughout Dan's career.
Oh yeah.
So we're talking, what year are those?
Well, that one is let's see. The one with the glasses.
Yeah, what's this one in the middle?
I was the 5th Beatle, as you can tell with the hair there. Not many people know I was the 5th Beatle. So the that would have been 1976.
Okay. And where were you at that point?
KSD Radio.
Oh.
And then
were your roots in radio first? Or
yes,
okay.
right. I started in radio in just outside of Kansas City, Kansas.
Okay.
KUDL Radio in Fairway, Kansas, is where I started, and then went to a radio station in Atlanta, then came back to St. Louis and a radio station, KSD in St. Louis, and then made the move to what was then KSD TV. Yeah, the picture on the left there is KUDL Radio, 1972 2, probably.
And then the one on the right, is that KMOX?
That's KMOX.
Which I know you have done a lot of work with KMOX. Do they still have you sometimes?
No, I haven't done a number of things there. It seems like I used to do a lot of fill-in, little freelance stuff when they needed somebody for vacation fill-in or whatever, and I would do it and usually work in the morning with Debbie Monterey, Tom Ackerman, and then when the new ownership took over KMOX, I didn't get any more phone calls.
Well, Steve Moore, call him, because I love to hear him. I used to.
So I really enjoyed it. The only crazy, and you know this from working early morning radio. Yeah. My gosh,
that early wake up call.
Oh, it's painful. It's painful.
Well, and that's the thing.
Physically painful.
Yeah, but you know what's hard, Dan? So if you're just tuning in, once again, I think I don't have to introduce him, but let me do it out of respect. This is Dan Gray. Hopefully you've had a chance to watch him over the years, or maybe, as we just said, listen to him over the years. So you worked all different hours, though. So if you were doing the early call, or you were doing at the end before you retired, weren't you doing midday? Noon?
Midday, yeah. And I had done late night, news anchoring at Channel 2 and at Channel 5. 10 o'clock news and 9 o'clock news and that kind of thing, and then midday news. And so you kind of jump around, as you well know. And so, but the toughest shift is the early morning shift. It really is.
Unless your body gets used to it.
Unless your body gets used to it. Yeah.
My internship was at Channel 5 with Karen Foss and Mike Bush and all your old colleagues. And they would come in at 2 or 2:30.
Yeah.
And then they would work until like 11:30, critiquing tapes, looking through things. And I back then thought, I don't know if I want to do this, because it's in the middle of the day and then the evening and you can't really make plans. And so I actually wanted to work mornings.
Yeah.
But yes, that 1:30, 2 o'clock wake up call can be brutal. Yeah. What was your favorite?
Well, no, it's painful to get out of bed that early in the morning. But once you get there, it's fun.
Yes.
You
have your whole day open.
Like if I worked at KMOX radio, and they usually want you there at about 4 o'clock in the morning, you'd go on the air at 5. Mm-hmm. And it's fun then, but after you after you wake up, you get a couple of cups of coffee, and so then it's fun. And so I enjoyed radio a lot, and so I started in radio, went to TV, kind of came back to radio full circle of part-time freelance radio. And now I'm just every day is Saturday.
You retired how long ago?
I retired in December of 2022.
Has it been? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And so this, of course,
this over a year. Yeah.
Those are the pictures that you probably remember from Fox 2. Did you worked at 2, 4, and 5?
Yeah, I did.
Is there a network you didn't work for? ABC?
No.
Or did you do ABC at some point?
No, I did ABC in Omaha, Nebraska. Okay. I worked at ABC.
But that's the only one here locally.
Right. Yeah.
He's one of the most incredible talents, and you just have so many amazing stories that you've covered. Celebrities, presidents, the Pope. Yeah. Here we were with the Commodores. Do you remember that?
Yes, right.
We were all dressed up in disco.
Yeah.
And then the most recent picture with John Goodman, that was with the Rep, right? You just did?
Right. The Repertory Theater of St. Louis. John Goodman came in. They were having some financial struggles, a debt that they were trying to get rid of. And John Goodman agreed to come in and perform. And they asked me if I would participate. And so I gave a little talk about how important live theater is in a community. And I'm a big live theater lover. And so and John Goodman was there. And so I had met him once before and got to meet him again and talk with him again. And he did a fabulous job. He was 100% professional. They did kind of a Q&A with him on the Repertory Theater stage, and they did raise a lot of money. So hopefully they're on their way back, bouncing from out of debt into some more healthier financial condition.
So we're going to have to go. I love the fact that you love live theater. It's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I always thank my mother for introducing us, going to the Muni, going to the Fox, going to the Rep, going to the Symphony, you name it. All right, Dan Gray once again is my guest. Let me look at some of the comments as you are getting a chance to watch my dear friend. Oh, so Michelle said he worked all the numbers and letters. Yes. Marilyn, Dan, my maiden name is Galati, and my sister Linda was in your class. We love that you come to the class reunions. You look great as always.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I remember that name, Galati. Yeah, I remember that name all the way through school. Yeah, and the class reunions are a hoot.
I'm sure.
They are fun. They are really a lot of fun.
But the problem, like my mom says, the class reunions, you never want them to go away. And you want to make sure that you show up as you get older and older and older, because your friends start to
the numbers get
pass on. Yeah, my mom's like, it's
thinner.
gotten so much smaller.
Yeah.
Leona says, my husband graduated from Fairview, and I graduated from Jennings High in '69 when we were still Jennings Bulldogs.
That's right. Yeah. They at one time, Jennings High School mascot was the Bulldogs. Fairview was the Warriors. And when the two combined, we as students and the Board of Education fought hard to kind of keep the Fairview name and tradition alive by continuing Warriors.
Okay.
And so Jennings then became Warriors instead of Bulldogs.
Aha. See, the little things we don't know.
There you go.
Good
Trivia.
morning. We love our hometown guy. And Dan looks great. You do.
Thank
You really,
you.
really do.
Thank
Still
you.
looking great. Fun to see you together again. I love the inspiration. Oh, thank you very much, Terry. I appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Neat to see all the new avenues you're heading down. Well, I appreciate it. We'll look back at some of you. Can't wait to hear from Dan. You are right now. So if you have any questions or comments for him, I have no audio. Oh, she's down in Central Southeast Missouri.
Uh-oh.
If you have any questions or comments or stories that Dan did, please let us know as I look through the comments. A big part of your life and a person that I absolutely adore is this woman right here.
Yeah.
This is your beautiful wife,
Yeah.
and she is beautiful on every level, obviously aesthetically, but on the inside, the woman has a heart of gold. Tell us a little bit about Michelle.
Yeah, she's a treasure. She really is a treasure. And we've been married, let's see, next month it'll be 13 years.
Do you want to talk about that wedding? Because I was there.
Yeah.
It was his birthday. It was a surprise birthday.
It was a surprise birthday party, and a wedding broke out. Where a wedding broke out, and so and now Michelle, of course, is she does pretty much all the heavy lifting at our cafe.
There it
which
is, right there.
Yeah, there it is, which is Bourbon Cafe and Coffee Saloon in Bourbon, Missouri.
I've been a few times.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And it's down I-44, about 45 minutes to an hour's drive southwest of St. Louis. And it's been open about 2.5 years now. And
what's your favorite thing about it? For people who have never been, what stands out there?
You know what? I have never been in the restaurant business before. And what would surprise me, I guess, maybe it's a small town kind of, pardon me, a small town kind of feel, but it's more than a restaurant. It's really a gathering place. It's a community place. It brings people together.
Yep.
You know, people come there and talk. You know, you come in and you might meet somebody, new, or you might see somebody you haven't seen in a while, and you sit there for a couple hours and talk and maybe have breakfast or lunch. And it really is fun. It's really fun to do that. Michelle does all the heavy lifting.
And she makes some incredible food.
Oh, yeah. She really does her breakfast and lunch. And we're right on East Pine Street, right there in downtown Bourbon. And she tries to keep heavily involved in the community, as well as, being a go-to place. What has been surprising about it is the number of visitors we get from Route 66.
Well, that's iconic. They want to come. They want to find everything they can on Route 66.
We're just a couple of blocks off of Route 66. So we're getting people from all over the country.
Sure.
People from all over the world.
So what's the one that stands out the most of people that say, oh my gosh, I came from here?
Yeah. We've had Eastern Europeans.
All right.
We've had from England, France, Italy, Germany.
Oh, I love it.
People stop in because they'll look on their phones at coffee shops near me as they're driving through the United States and coming into Missouri, and we'll pop up.
You're popping up.
About a month ago, we had a couple come in from England, from the north of England, and the lady is a travel writer, and she started her own website designed for Europeans who want to travel Route 66. Now, Europeans still want to come to America to have their holiday at Disney World or New York or California, but there are a growing number of them who want to see small town America.
Absolutely.
And so they kind of heard about Route 66. They start in Chicago, they come down through Illinois, go through Missouri, and then into Oklahoma and onward. But she started her own website designed specifically for Europeans on what to do, how to do it, if you're traveling Route 66. It's called Lost on 66, the website.
Okay.
And she said, after she set up the website, she said she got a message from somebody that said, if you're traveling through Bourbon, Missouri, stop at Bourbon Cafe and Coffee Saloon.
Oh, I love it.
And so, and then in addition to that, they said, make sure you see the dog Dolly.
Yes, I was just going to ask you about Dolly.
Because Dolly has an international fan club now.
I saw this little back and forth with you on your page. Once again, Dan Gray visiting with us, and you said that somebody came in and you said welcome to them, and immediately, not even saying anything to you, they were like, "Where's Dolly?"
Exactly. Yeah, a lady
Dolly's the star.
Yeah. Oh, she is. She's got, and that's something that developed that we didn't think about. We cleared it with the health department. The county health department said, well, is it okay if we have a dog here?
Yeah.
And they said, as long as the dog isn't in the prep area or the
Sure.
kitchen area.
No dog here in your food.
Right. If the dog is in the dining area, and Dolly doesn't shed. So, as long as the dog is there, that's fine. And that's something that we hadn't expected either. We thought, well, okay, so we'll bring her there a couple times a day, couple times a week, which is when she's there. And she acts kind of as our official greeter,
She's your hostess.
Yeah, exactly. She's the maitre d'. So
Can we say why her name is Dolly?
Oh, well, my wife is the biggest Dolly Parton
Yes, she
fan
is.
in the world.
Yes, she is. And she hasn't met her yet, right?
She has not. We've come close.
Can we please make that happen?
Yeah,
Dolly Parton, we need you to meet Michelle Gray.
It is my life mission. We've come close twice
How?
to meeting Dolly Parton. Once at the Fox Theater in St. Louis. We went to see Dolly Parton at the Fox, and we get there and arrive at the theater, and I happen to see the head of security at the Fox, who I know. He was a former, he was a St. Louis police officer then, and he was head of security at the Fox. And I said, hey, Rick, how you doing? Here's my wife, Michelle. And so we're saying hello. And I said, is Dolly doing a meet and greet?
Right.
And he said, oh, yeah, sure. And I go, oh, really? I go, well, my wife, Michelle, is the biggest Dolly Parton. He goes, follow me. Go, okay, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. This is it. It's going to happen.
Did you tell her it was going to happen, or you were just kind of?
Yeah, Michelle was standing right there.
She had to be freaking.
Michelle was standing. So we go to the
happened?
side door, the side stage door in the theater where the seats are, side stage door on the right, and we're walking up the steps to go to the door to get you backstage. And I'm just thinking, Dolly's right on the other side of that door.
Sure.
Dolly Parton is on the other side of that door, and we're going to make it happen. And so Rick takes his hand and he starts to reach for the doorknob, and his walkie-talkie goes off. And there's a woman who is collapsed in the theater that needs security's attention. And so he goes, Dan, I'm sorry. I got to go.
No, inches away.
And so then...
Couldn't you have just said, okay, well, you go do that. We're going to go talk to Dolly.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just let me back there. You can trust me.
We're old friends.
Yeah. So
no.
understandably, he had to go. A woman had fainted, had passed out.
Way to go, lady.
As she was walking to her seat, the show hadn't started yet. And paramedics came. They took her out on a stretcher.
Oh.
And this was before the show began. And Dolly Parton even mentioned it when she came on stage and said, oh my goodness, I heard that there was a lady who got sick, and I'm sorry,
Hopefully she's okay.
Hopefully she's okay.
Yes.
And, she went to the hospital. But we were that close. And then it was like, okay, now how do I regroup and make it happen somewhere, somehow in the world, at Dollywood, in St. Louis. But now Dolly stopped touring.
Yes.
So she's not touring anymore. So unless she decides to drive to Bourbon, get off her bus, and
she needs to
walk in.
She needs to visit Bourbon Cafe and Coffee Saloon. You all do, by the way. We're going to say that this show was brought to you by Bourbon Cafe and Coffee Saloon.
Sure.
You got to go. What are the hours there?
They're Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay, so get
Breakfast
in there.
Breakfast and lunch.
Breakfast and lunch. We're going to take a quick break. We are visiting with my dear friend, and we're going to go walking back memory lane of some of the great things that you and I have had a chance to do together. And I actually
I'm
forgot.
not married to her.
No,
I'm not
we're going to
married.
explain that. We are not married.
There's a rumor out
but he was
there.
at my wedding and he had a big role in it. We'll talk about that when we return.
Think about this. When's the last time you called your doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning and he actually answered? Well, at Innovare Health Advocates, their patients are special. Their doctors, nurse practitioners, their care team care deeply about your health, your family, your work, and even your pet. Their clinicians are accessible and they lead your care in and out of the hospital. In fact, Dr. Charles Willie offers his cell phone number to his patients to ensure they can intervene early in your illness. They can provide care above and beyond, offering lab, x-ray, echocardiogram, and other treatments in their office. Innovare Health Advocates with 5 locations on both sides of the river. Check them out, innovarehealth.com.
Welcome back, 7:30, and it's the Real Monica Adams Show. Once again, thanks for being a part of the show. We're visiting with the wonderful Dan Gray. Leona just said something. I'm trying to make sense of this. We had a home in Bland, Missouri. How do you use Jennings folks get so attracted to the country?
Well, we haven't moved to the country yet, but we do own a business there. So we haven't officially moved there, but Michelle is there.
Does she travel?
Yeah, well,
every day?
She stays there.
Oh,
we have a small place. She stays there when, 5 days a week sometimes.
Okay.
And when we're open. And then, but we still have a home in St. Louis.
Because I thought she was traveling from where you were to Bourbon. I'm like, oh
not
my gosh,
every
that's
day.
a long drive.
Not every day. Yeah, it's about 45 minutes to an hour from St. Louis.
Which some
Bourbon.
people do that kind of travel.
Yeah, somebody do it every day. So, yeah.
So Dan Dot says, you look terrific. We visit Bourbon Cafe and Coffee Saloon to visit Michelle regularly. Love that place.
All right.
And love Dolly.
Dolly.
How did you decide on that location for the restaurant?
Well, that's an interesting story. It was an opportunity that was presented to us. It wasn't something that we sought.
Sought out, okay.
Yeah, it was one of those things that just kind of, okay, it was there, it was presented. Do we do it? Do we not do it?
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle had been working at the ALS Association.
Oh, I remember
St.
that.
Louis.
That's right.
And when COVID hit, a number of nonprofits, charitable organizations laid off employees. She was laid off. She was unemployed. A friend of ours owned a building in Bourbon, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
It was vacant at the time. He had wanted to do something with it and had talked about turning it into a cafe or something, or a coffee shop or a restaurant, and asked Michelle for her help in maybe doing some, interior design and decorating. What would you do?
Mm-hmm.
And so she did, and they started, fixing up the place, and it was a partnership there. And then his mother became ill. And so he had to spend more time in the St. Louis area after she became ill, and he kind of bowed out of the business.
Right.
We bought the business from him and the building from him, and that's how it developed. And so, I have relatives who were in the restaurant business, and I had no idea how hard they worked. It is 7 days a week, whether you're open or not, and it's just. It's one of those things there. You're always dealing with something, employees,
Sure.
deliveries, food, and Michelle works really hard at changing the menu every week. She changes the menu every week, so it's not the same thing.
And I'm not kidding, Dan, when I tell you that the food is incredible. I mean, Jim and I went there on our way back from, I think we were maybe Table Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. And then we just popped in and surprised her. And Jim's like, this food's incredible. And we had stuff for the dogs. So we had some dog treats also
good,
we brought back.
Good.
The picture on the right is you emceeing there at Bourbon.
Yeah, we have a Bourbon's Got Talent event every the last Saturday of every month, where people can sign up and do singing or guitar playing or juggling or magicians or whatever they want to do. We once had a belly dancer.
Oh.
But and so I get to MC and introduce the acts. That picture on the left is me in a kilt.
I know. I love that.
That's not
What's that from?
That's in Washington.
No, but you do a lot of MC work.
Yeah, that's in Washington, Missouri, at the Celtic Festival in Washington.
Did you have to
Missouri.
buy that, or did you have that?
No, I didn't buy that. somebody loaned it to me. I did not own the kilt, So yeah.
A ton of emceeing work that you've been doing that I've been following on your page, which I love. He's an incredible MC. You and I had a chance
we
to
MC
MC together.
Yeah. What was it, the
Family Resource Center, wasn't it?
Yeah, and also was the American Liver Association?
Probably.
I think we did a few of those.
love working with you. He's just such a pro.
That's awesome.
All right, we're going to talk about this, and then we'll come back. Because I was going to leave it at the end, but I don't want to. I want to talk about some of our fun times together. But a lot of you that have been following Dan, you know that he went through a health struggle. That was the positive side of you ringing the bell.
Right.
But my friend, let's talk about this. So you were diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Diagnosed with prostate cancer in August of 2022, and stayed working at that point. Was still kind of feeling not too good. And this is my urologist here in the upper right-hand corner, Dr. Gregory McLennan, and some of the medicine that I get, that I had been taking every 3 months. And so at that point, I decided, so I was diagnosed in August, decided to retire in December, and then spent the past year, pretty much 2023, dealing with that situation with biopsies, surgeries, treatments, imaging, radiation. And so after the radiation, 26 radiation treatments, that you go through a series of blood tests now. Now I'm in that stage where you go through blood tests and imaging to see if it's gone, to see if the cancer is gone. And so the PSA number, which a lot of people are familiar with, particularly men, it determines the protein level in the prostate, which is an indicator of cancer. And so the PSA level, since I've had all those treatments, is 0, which means cancer is not. So thank God that it's not detectable. And so now it's a matter of, that 5-year clock begins when somebody is diagnosed with cancer, and then they go through treatment
to say they're cancer
free at the end of 5 years. So now it's a matter of imaging every few months, blood tests about once every 4 to 6 weeks, just seeing the doctor, making sure everything is okay.
Right.
I feel okay. I think sometimes the side effects from the medicine are worse than the actual illness.
Many times that's the case.
Yeah.
What are you feeling right now?
Yeah, it's the feelings from the medicine are sometimes fatigue, and sometimes my doctor said you're going through male menopause. Menopause. That's what Dr. McLennan.
Welcome to our world, Dan.
I know. So now I'm sympathetic.
Thank you.
A little bit with what's going on. And he said you'll have hot flashes, you'll have mood swings.
Is it because of the hormonal aspect?
Yeah, the hormonal aspect. Yeah, the hormone therapy, and it changes. It reduces the testosterone levels, and so he said you'll probably experience this and that, and sure enough, I did. And one funny story, one time, as we mentioned, my wife Michelle is a big fan of Dolly Parton. One time. This was a few months ago, after I had been on the medicine for a while, and the movie, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, came on TV. And I had never seen it. Michelle had seen it. I hadn't seen it. It's a Dolly Parton movie, so we watched it. And so we're at the part in the movie where the sheriff is shutting down the brothel. He's shutting it down. Boom.
Dolly, it's a great movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, it is a fun. It's a good movie.
It's hilarious.
It's really got good acting and good drama as well as comedy. And so Dolly, who's the madam of the brothel, goes to all the girls and says, "You got to go. You got to leave now, right now. That's it.
Get out.
Get out." And they're all. And I'm sitting there on the couch watching, and I start crying. I'm tearing. And Michelle looks at me and goes, "What's wrong with you?"
My hormones.
And I said, "Where are those poor girls going to go?
They don't have a home.
They're going to get on a bus and go somewhere, And I know it's all fiction and all that stuff, but it's a movie. But I mean, and I'm not a proponent of prostitution. Please don't send me.
Nobody doesn't want to buy homeless.
But I thought, well, they're out on the street. where are they going to go?
How long did you cry?
A couple of minutes, I think. And then
Can I say this? One thing that many of you might know, because again, he's one of the best newsmen that we have, not only in our area, but you could go national, and I'm gonna put him up top. You really are. You were such a role model for someone who was getting into the business. I would sit there and go through, and you worked with who was truly the queen for me, which was Karen Foss. What a class act that woman is.
Certain.
She's in what, New Mexico?
New Mexico, I think she.
What an incredible woman. But I mean, he's worked with some of the best, but they've also learned from the best. So over 5 decades that this gentleman has worked, and we're getting a chance to experience so much. But you probably watched him deliver you very serious news, and you didn't know his unbelievable quick wit. You are so funny. We've had so much fun together. Look, let's go back down memory lane. And by the way, we are also coming up, and we're going to be talking about the 17th annual Ice Carnival that's in University City. Did you ever get a chance to go to that over the years?
I've covered it a few times.
See?
Yeah, sure did.
I know you retired, but are you willing to do the interview with me?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, well, cool. All right, we're going to have Sean and Mark coming up in just a second, but let's go back down memory lane. Okay, let's start. How about we start here, because this is before Jim.
Oh,
so this is the Luau.
At Luau at your house.
What are you doing on the left? I know what you guys were doing. You were hiding a vodka bottle.
We were stealing some booze from your house.
A good one. It was Dan Aykroyd's vodka.
And
the Crystal Head.
And we were trying to sneak out, and you caught us.
I did.
And took a picture.
I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Some of your friends are there, and we're going, "Uh-oh."
A couple of the Luaus, and then this one I'll never forget. This is a surprise 40th birthday party that Michelle actually threw, and I had just come from the U City area, by the way.
Yes.
So she talked me into getting something done. Do you remember what I got done? My belly button got pierced. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I think there was a little blood on my shirt still.
Yes. Right.
That top picture you can't see very well, but I'm giving you a kiss on the cheek, and you're holding Monica, my name, so I can remember throughout the night what my name is. But it all came through so many wonderful things that we asked. This is how much we love this man, that we asked this man to marry us.
Yeah, I didn't marry Monica.
But if you Google, you'll see that.
Please don't let Jim know that he doesn't know about the second husband angle yet. But no, I officiated at the wedding.
Yes.
I didn't marry Monica.
No, he's married again to her, to Michelle.
Married,
that's your granddaughter, isn't it?
That's Ellie, my granddaughter.
I love it. But I don't think
Jim and Monica.
Yes, he married us in Augusta, Missouri, at the reserve. But yes, if you Google, you may see that we are married. So I did not know. Actually, originally, when I was thinking of, we were going to get married in church, and then we were going to get married in Cabo San Lucas, and then we ended up picking Augusta. And so somehow, I don't even know how we started talking to say that you could marry us. I didn't even know you did that.
Well, and that was another thing that kind of just developed on its own. One of our producers at Channel 2, Julie, her name is Julie Luau now. It was Julie Trang, and she came to me several years ago, and she said, before she was married, she said, Henry and I want you to marry us. I said, what do you mean, marry you? She goes, yeah, we want you to do the wedding. And I said, well, I'm not a priest, a rabbi, an imam. I'm a minister. I'm nothing. What do you mean you marry? And she goes, well, you can go to this website.
It's like Joey on Friends.
Exactly. Go to this website, answer a couple of questions. You print out a form, and it says you're authorized to do weddings. Okay, and I thought about it for a while, and I went home and asked Michelle. I said, "What do you think? I mean, I didn't want to mock somebody who has spent, 8 years in seminary,
like Tim Ezell.
Like Tim is who
I was going to have.
Yeah, like Tim Ezell or other people that we know who are members of the clergy. And I didn't want to be mocking them, by just getting a certificate off a website.
Sure.
And so Michelle said to me, well, the bride always gets what she wants. And I said, okay, well, all right. So
this is happening.
Yeah. So this is happening. So I did it. So I did that. And then once I did that, then there were a couple of other weddings of people at Channel 2. I officiated at their wedding. And then a couple of more others who were not in TV. Mm-hmm. And so I still do that occasionally. Whenever
I was just going to ask if you still are.
Yeah. Whenever I get the call, people want to.
So will you renew our vows in Cabo for our 10th?
Yeah, sure, I will.
All right, we've got a trip to do in 25, which actually would be a big one. That's when Jim's retiring. So he's
is it
probably
really?
jealous of you.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
retire in May of 2025.
All right,
Yeah.
next year. Big
All right,
deal.
I see a lot of comments coming in. I'm going to take a quick break. When we
Okay.
come back, I know at least Sean is on. We're going to try to get Mark on as well. We're going to talk about the 17th annual Ice Carnival, and we're going to actually do this interview together. I'm going to take him back out of retirement.
Yeah.
We're going to see if you lost anything there. I don't think so. I think you did it long enough. All right, more with Dan Gray and Sean Leahy when we return.
Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. Info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online envitahealthandwellness.com.
Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Super cool, a drone component this year, Dan. So this is really awesome. We have Dan Gray with me doing an interview this morning. I've taken him back out of retirement. He didn't even know about this, but he has covered this before. We're talking about the 17th annual Ice Carnival in the University City Loop, and you just saw the drone component of it. We're going to show you some cool pictures. We're going to talk about the ice sculpting. We're going to talk about how you can win and how you can do a little VIP viewing. So let me bring our guest on. Michael Alter, first of all, thank you for joining us, and Sean Leahy. Now, Michael, are you with Fitz's?
I am with Fitz's.
Okay, so the ice sculpting is actually going to be right outside, a demonstration right outside of your area, right?
Right. It has been a tradition for many years. It's on our parking lot. The sculptor is set up, and it's fairly interactive in the sense that you are right around the sculptor. You get to see all the sculptors conceive, design, and then cut right before your eyes. Super cool.
And talking about the sculpting, here's the man that does it. He doesn't regularly sit around ice, I don't think. He's got his. You're going to do a little carving for us, aren't you? Or you're going to at least at some point, I think you're going to fire it up for us and kind of show us what you do. But Sean, how long have you been doing ice sculpting?
Oh man, I've been carving since about 2006 and had started my own business since 2010. So quite a while.
And he's done some incredible things, by the way. I'm going to show some of the pictures. Dan, any questions for them?
Yeah. Do you get assignments? You're not doing the ice show at University City. Do you get assignments the rest of the year to do private commissions or special events?
Yeah, absolutely. We just got out of a holiday season, a ton of year-end corporate events, and we'll be gearing up for wedding season, and we got Mardi Gras right around the corner. We do a lot of work for private events throughout the year, either corporate or personal, like big weddings or anniversaries, different types of life events. So, yeah, we stay busy.
Absolutely. And I'm going to show you some of those pictures in just a second. Michael, let's run this down. So this is coming up on January 20th. Just paint the picture for those who have never been before.
Well, the Ice Carnival this is the 17th year we've been doing it. It is all up and down Delmar. The street this year will be closed to give everybody an opportunity to stroll up and down the street. The greatest hits are back, which is the ice cubes, which are stuffed with either chocolate or actually some dollars. And we have some really cool new things this year. We have stilt walkers, we have fire eaters. It is completely interactive. It's super family friendly. People can stroll up and down the boulevard and take in the sights, take in the stores, take in the galleries. It is a fun day for everybody.
And Michael, this weather is perfect for you. While some people may be complaining about the cold, this is great because it means the sculptures last longer.
Absolutely. In the past, we've had super warm weather, which has been a challenge. When you have an ice carnival, you're hoping that it will have days like we're forecasted. So I think the ice sculptors are going to have a long life this year.
And we're hoping, it looks like we may have lost Sean, but let's stay with Michael here for a second. What do you think is the hardest sculpture that Sean's ever done?
Well, I've seen him do so many. It's really hard to pick one specifically. I know for us, he does a bottle and mugs, and I'm just amazed how intricate they can be. And they are really works of art. They are to be appreciated. And when you have the opportunity to see them made, they're extra special.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I actually pulled some up from their website, which we'll give you here in just a second. Let's showcase this. I'm a huge St. Louis City SC fan.
That's great.
The one on the left is amazing. But I'll ask you now, Sean, that you're back with us. What has been the most difficult that you've ever been asked to do?
Oh man, usually weather plays a factor. So if it's ever above freezing and some kind of outside situation, that can be difficult. But I've been able to travel a lot. We went up to the Super Bowl in Minnesota, I guess maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and that was a huge ordeal just being involved with the NFL. And I love getting the custom request that is a little bit outside of the box. We say think outside the blocks around here. So, I'm always up for a challenge, and yeah, we do a lot of fun stuff. So,
well, once again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Sean and Mark, and we're talking about the 17th annual Ice Carnival that's coming up on January 20th. Sean, I know you are so busy with so many people asking you to do something right now. We were going to ask Sean to do the Real Monica Adams logo.
There you go.
So you're taxed to do that next year, Sean. I'm giving you a year in advance.
Okay, yeah, a little bit of heads up will be great. Yeah, we're excited that we got this. This is bigger than last year. We're doing 50 sculptures up and down the streets, and I got a fun demo piece lined up for the Fitz's parking lot that everybody's just going to have to come out to see. But we're real excited to be participating again, and happy to see that it's growing and getting back to some prior years levels here. So also excited for. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sean, at what point in your life did you say, I want to be an ice sculptor?
Exactly. That's my question.
How did that?
When did it start?
Yeah. How did that develop, and what do you get out of it?
Yeah, well, as a kid, I was always drawing and making pictures and stuff. I played ice hockey and loved sledding down Art Hill and all the fun cold weather activities. I got a studio art degree, which wasn't really strategic for a career when I went into it, but was fortunate enough. My older brother's a chef, and he kind of put me onto it because historically ice is a culinary art. So he was experiencing a little bit of that at the clubs he was working at, and then also through his garde through his culinary program. So yeah, I was able to reach out to a company and start a paid apprenticeship until I was done with school, and then kind of just caught the small business bug along the way. And I love having the parameters of, hey, this is the event, this is when it's due, this is the budget, versus, oh, make whatever you want.
Need some direction.
Yeah, so I find that satisfying to be able to be creative still and apply my degree, and then also have a business that
there aren't many people that do what you do.
Yeah, it is a pretty small niche nationally, but you would maybe be surprised by the amount of people that actually do it nationally and internationally, especially like in the Midwest and up north. And
Well,
Canada.
Sean, I envision you when you're first starting the way I would never see you advance. I would start, and let's act like that Dan is the ice. I would have maybe a screwdriver
Yeah.
and a hammer and go, yep, it didn't
That's-
work, and I'd be done. But you use incredible tools, which we'll talk about in just a second. Michael, for everybody that's never been before, let's talk about the new things that you're having this year. I started off with the video of the drone. Talk about that and talk about the VIP viewing area.
Well, I'm really excited about the drone show. I mean, we've never had that. It's been conceived. It is Saturday evening. There are VIP opportunities at the Moonrise Hotel. So you definitely want to check that out if you want the best seat for the viewing. But other than that, you can see it up and down the street for, I'm told, up to a mile away. Skinker and Del Mar, the cross section, will be closed for the show. So you can have a VIP seat and enjoy the show, or you could just be up and down Del Mar Boulevard, anywhere in the loop, and take it in. It's going to be fantastic.
So let's run some of this down. 50 ice sculptures, live music, inflatables, snowflake ballerinas, fire performers, which I think is super cool. We're putting fire and ice together. Sean, are you a little worried that the fire performers might melt your ice?
Not this year. I think we might need a little extra heat around the activities with the forecast that we're looking at. But yeah, you know, they usually go pretty well hand in hand aesthetically, and then we might even ask them to use it on the demo piece to polish it up and give it a nice finish. So should be all fun.
Just following up on what Monica was saying earlier, what kind of tools do you use to make a sculpture? Is there is it similar to
chainsaw? Isn't it like a chainsaw?
Yeah, like a chainsaw, or is it similar to any other sculptor that maybe sculpting something out of marble or stone?
Not so much the marble and stone. There are a lot of crossover with wood sculpture. So yeah, during the demo, I'll be doing a lot of chainsaw, sanders, chisels, different spinning bits for like detail, like almost like an oversized Dremel. And then, but here at the shop and a lot of the stuff that we'll see for the different businesses, we actually have a flatbed CNC machine. So it's like a table and it's computer operated. So that's how we can get some nice crispy logos done, and we'll get Monica's tuned up for next season. For sure.
Yeah, all right. You said you just needed enough time. I've given it to you. Linda just said perfect weather coming up for the ice sculptures. Yes, not this weekend. So we'll see what plays out for January 20th. Again, outside Fitz's, all up and down the loop. You'll be able to see this. So it's not this weekend. Good questions coming in, though. Steph says to you, Sean, good job. When I went to chef school, we had to do ice carving in Minnesota. You're very talented. It was not easy. So there you go.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and I know they're going to have like hay rides up and down the strip to keep people cozy, to have a different experience. And yeah, it'll be cool to see like the music playing, and it'll definitely be a good atmosphere for coming out in a nice wintry situation. So
absolutely. This is cool also, Sean and Michael. $1,250 in ice cubes giveaway, plus 10,000 chocolate coins in the ice cubes. Michael, tell us about that.
Well, this is a greatest hits of the Loop Carnival. I mean, we stuff coins and chocolate into ice cubes. They're given to stores and restaurants, so anybody can stop by, grab an ice cube, and see what's inside. And besides, you know, and as they're walking up the street and scavenging around for their coins, they get to run into also new things that we're doing this year. Louis from the St. Louis Blues is going to be there, which we're really excited.
Always a fan favorite, Michael.
Yeah, first time that he's going to be there. We're going to have the stilt walkers out there. We're going to have the ice penguins out there. So it's going to be really interactive.
And we haven't given you the time yet. It's 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Again, it's January 20th for the 17th annual Ice Carnival. If you want to find information, by the way, visit theloop.com/events. I'm sure Michelle's probably already dropped it in. If not, she'll be dropping it for you. Visit theloop.com/events. Now, there is a cost for the VIP viewing, and I think they have like heavy hors d'oeuvres and drinks. Is that right, Michael?
That's correct.
Okay.
I think I believe it's $75.
Yes.
But it will give you not only an opportunity to eat and drink a little bit, but it'll give you the prime spot to watch the drone show.
Yes, and then the evening drone show 160 drones, the live ice carving demo at Fitz's. And again, if you've never been, Dan's covered it. What stood out for you the most when you covered it?
Well, no, I'm just amazed at how they sculpture something. You get a block of ice, wherever that's from. I don't know where you guys get your ice from. I guess, is there a certain type of ice that you prefer, or can you just...
Yeah, we make our own blocks. We got special machines that make blocks of ice, and then I do have a partnership with another business up in Minnesota that if we do need some blocks, or if there's bigger projects or whatever, we can find some good quality ice to use as well.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and they are works of art. They're definitely works of art, and should be seen. And the intricacy that you can achieve with a chainsaw is kind of, yeah. So I'm thinking, I don't know how you guys get so detailed.
Look at this one. Wait, look at this one. I want to show you really quick. This one in the middle that I pulled from Sean's website, which I believe isn't Pura Vida? Is that the rocks tequila? I think possibly, but this is what I found on your website, and I just kept scrolling and scrolling through, going, "Holy cow!" My husband's a big Harley Davidson fan. Dan will remember I gave him a Harley Davidson for our wedding. We've got Mardi Gras coming up, so that picture on the right. But the intricacy that you have, and then these that I absolutely love, because we think about holidays coming up. Sean, tell me about, I guess, the hardest holiday ice sculpture you've had to do, because here we're looking at Easter.
Easter. Yeah, a lot of the holiday stuff, most of the difficulty comes in like the bigger multi-block design. So like some of the like bunnies and, Santa Claus, all that stuff can be intricate, but is not necessarily difficult relatively. But once we start doing like full-size bars, or we'll do like big walls for logos and branding purposes, almost like a step and repeat for events like that. So most of the difficulty really comes in like the logistics more so than the actual production. I love going out and getting the stack. They call it stack and hack. We'll put a bunch of blocks up and just start carving. So that's where I really get to tap back into like my older artist art school days, I guess, where it's really like, oh, let me look, let me sketch, let me let me carve. We had a couple fun ones at the art museum this season that, to be able to kind of replicate some of those classical works is always fun and satisfying for me. So,
and you can infuse them with color.
Correct. Yeah. So that's typically
that takes a little time, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's a method to it, but because you can see through the ice, we carve a pocket while it's laying flat, and then we can clean it out and lay our color in there. We usually use like a color sand with some water, and then it spreads, and then it refreezes in that pocket, and then we can stand it up, and it shows through the ice. So yeah, we got some tricks up our sleeves to accomplish some different looks, and adding color, or stacking some different things, fusing ice at weird angles. That's always fun for the crowd. So
you are crazy, crazy talented. And that's the thing. You've got to come out and watch, because I think that is the most enjoyable, is to see when he starts and what you think it might turn into, and then what it turns into. So we're going to give you the rundown again. It is the Loop Del Mar. That is the 17th annual Ice Carnival, coming up on the 20th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Get your tickets for the VIP. I think, again, it's $75 for the actual drone show watch area. And then just go up and down. The hayride's kind of taking you from position to position. Visit theloop.com/events. If you want to find out more about Sean's business, it's Full Spectrum Ice. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. And I do hope I get a chance to see you, to come out there and support you.
Great. Thanks so much.
All right.
Thank you. Good morning. Great.
More with Dan Gray when we return.
Think about this. When's the last time you called your doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning and he actually answered? Well, at Innovair Health Advocates, their patients are special. Their doctors, nurse practitioners, their care team care deeply about your health, your family, your work, and even your pet. Their clinicians are accessible and they lead your care in and out of the hospital. In fact, Dr. Charles Willie offers his cell phone number to his patients to ensure they can intervene early in your illness. They can provide care above and beyond, offering lab, x-ray, echocardiogram, and other treatments in their office. Innovair Health Advocates with 5 locations on both sides of the river. Check them out, innovairhealth.com.
Welcome back, The Real Monica Adams Show. I hope you've enjoyed this. We've had Beckette Moore from the Navy Pier in Chicago in the blizzard conditions, and that was his biggest project that he's covered so far. Do you not think that kid's going to go far?
Age 14?
Yeah, what were you doing at 14?
I'm learning to tie my shoes.
Exactly.
Age 14, I was barely in 8th grade, I guess, freshman in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had no idea what I was going to be.
You know what?
This kid's he's a weather nerd. He's got his life,
and he's got a good following. He's weather official, or it's More Weather Official, so WX, More Weather Official on X or Twitter, and then he's on YouTube at More Weather. And he called me the other night and said, "I'm going to go to Chicago for the blizzard." And I was like, first of all, thank you to his parents. I know his mom's name's Jill. I don't know his father's name, Marty. But what is it? Marty. Jill and Marty, thank you so much for your support, because they can obviously see his talent, his tenacity.
So they drove him
his
to Chicago.
Will. So he and his dad went on the train.
Oh, with the train, yeah.
So he was doing a little update on his X page and saying, hey, we're stopping here, and you can see the snow's falling. And then he got there. So follow it. I showed Jim last night. He did a very in-depth 30-minute report. I mean, he's got the models, Dan. It's real. He's not just like having fun with this.
Right.
He knows that's what he wants to do. So at the age of 14, I wanted to be a physician. I wanted to be a pediatrician. I love children. I wanted to work in medicine. I ended up going into sports medicine and physical therapy, and I used that in my personal training. Mm-hmm. So I still had a facet of that. But when you were 14, what did you want to be?
Well, I did want to get into broadcasting.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. It was either broadcasting or become an actor. And
I want to be an actress too.
Yeah. So
we have to do that sometimes in this
right,
field.
Yeah. But, I had listened to top 40 radio rock and roll stations in St. Louis. When I was growing up in the 60s, KXOK was a big top 40 station, number one.
Did Johnny Rabbit work there?
Johnny Rabbit worked there.
Did you work there at the same time?
No. There were a couple of different Johnny Rabbits. Because
who's the original, Ron Ells or not?
Well, Ron, no disrespect to Ron Ells, but the quintessential Johnny Rabbit, most successful radio personality was Don Pietro Monaco.
Okay.
Who used the name Johnny Rabbit.
Didn't know that.
And he was on KXOK in the evening. And I think Ron Ells may have been before him and maybe after him again. I'm not sure.
But he's still lasting on KMOX.
He is still lasting on KMOX, yeah. So I haven't worked with Ron. I know him, but I haven't worked with him. But I know that there were a couple of different Johnny Rabbits.
Okay.
And so I would listen to the radio, and I thought, geez, these guys sound like they're really having fun, I mean,
radio is fun.
They're playing the hits, and they're just having a ball. And so I thought I wanted to get into broadcasting. So I kind of went that way, and then just tried to. I then changed my mind. Said, well, maybe I'm not as chatty as a DJ. So I went into news, and that picture on the left there, of course, was my first radio job.
Look, by the way, do you like our little Today Show set here?
I love
in Kirkwood?
Yeah.
We're right here. If you ever
right
want to come by, right at the corner of Jefferson and North Kirkwood, right across from Dewey's. I know we have a lot of walkers and runners. I've told people they need to come by. If kind of like on Channel 5 when they did. Oh, here's some more.
Yeah.
Maybe this woman wants to come and say thank you for your years. Channel 5, they used to do a lot out on the plaza.
Right.
People would come by and they would have their pictures, and then they would have their signs promoting something.
I love that. That's kind of what we wanted to do. So when Dan came in this morning, he's like, so this is one of your 3 studios?
Yeah, we're 3 studios.
So
my goodness, you move around.
I would have loved, because George Wise, who knows you, George was like, please tell him I said hi. George is our director.
George
You've
is
heard
a
me
good
talking.
guy.
He is a
Yeah.
good guy. And so we are at our actual studios Mondays and Tuesdays. Here, Wednesdays and Fridays at Mark Anthony's. What do you think of this store?
This is amazing.
See?
Yeah, I mean, this is this is my first time here, and I didn't know. I mean, there's a lot of great men's clothing here too.
Yes. So you're
you
going to do
know?
some shopping when
So
we're done?
I think I could probably spend a lot of money before I leave.
Michelle, I'm sorry. Let's talk about family again. So we talked about Dan and Michelle again, and
Yeah.
we talked about your granddaughter. You also have incredible children that Michelle had before the two of you got
Right,
married, who I
yeah.
absolutely love, Faith and Luke.
Faith and Luke, yeah. Faith is now married,
Yes.
and she's been married for a few years, and Luke is living on his own, single, and then I have 2 sons from a previous marriage, Nick and Andy. Nick is married with 2 children, so I have 2 grandchildren, Ellie and Will, a girl and a boy, and my other son Andy lives in the St. Louis area and works here at Fleischman Hillard. And so, I get to see them occasionally in holidays and birthdays and that kind of thing. Yeah, that's Ellie that I'm holding in my arms there when she was smaller. She's 11 now.
Let's
and
bring
Will
this
is
up.
7.
You're big into family, you're big into friends, you're big into community, and you are friends with a beautiful singer. Yesterday we featured a singer that's just mind-blowing, but we are so lucky to have this woman, Erin Bodie.
Erin Bodie.
How did you first meet Erin?
Well, it was covering her, doing a news story about Erin when she and her father is a pastor in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, and the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod denomination had opened a couple of schools in Africa, boys' school and a girls' school, and Erin had gone there to teach them how to sing and to teach music to the girls' school and the boys' school. And when she came back, she brought some of the kids back with her to do a performance in St. Louis. And so I did a story about her bringing these children back that from Africa, and they were going to perform at Concordia Seminary and have a concert. And so I had met Erin there and she said, well, yeah, you got to come to the concert. And I said, okay. So Michelle and I went to the concert. We became friends.
And you fell in love with her voice.
Oh, yeah.
She's our version of Nora Jones.
Yeah.
That's what I always felt.
Right. And beautiful, beautiful. We've had her perform in Bourbon a few times.
Oh,
and
good.
It usually sells out for sure.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
I always love when she does these little intimate concerts. My husband and I were going into Cyrano's one night, and we were leaving, and she performs there a lot, right?
Yeah, she performs there.
I'm going to ask Dan, but I want to throw this to you because this is your show. Again, I want to know what guests you would love for us to have on. Comments, questions, always we go to it. Kathy just said, I love Erin Bodie. Beautiful voice and personality.
Yeah. Right, she's great.
Dan, did you hang at George Edick's place and see Tina and
Ike? Yes, I
Monkeys,
certainly did.
Yep.
Yeah, at the Imperial Club on West Florissant at Goodfellow. And, we didn't know what we were seeing at the time.
That's what my mom says.
When world-class entertainment right in your own neighborhood, because I lived in Jennings, which was just on the other side of the St. Louis City line, right near West Florissant and Goodfellow. And we used to go there Tuesday nights, the Club Imperial, and Ike and Tina Turner and the Ikettes would perform. And, we'd stand there with our mouths open, just watching this performance, and later I thought, wow, they were ahead of their time because this was in the 60s. Now, there's nothing wrong with 3 guitars and a set of drums, for all those bands that have that. But this was a show that they put on, a theatrical show.
Absolutely.
With horns, with dancers, with singing, with Tina coming on stage, with Ike. I mean, it was a choreographed show, and it was amazing. And they'd pack the house every Tuesday night, mainly with kids. Mainly with teenagers.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
my mom used to say that she would go there and it was split.
Yeah.
You would have the 21 and older,
Mhm.
and then you would have the ones that were under 21.
Right.
And some
And
of
there
the
was no
friends would
drinking.
go, haha, you can't come over here drinking. She's
Right.
like, I don't want to. I want to dance.
No, I know.
All they wanted to do was dance.
Yeah, all we wanted to do was see Ike and Tina Turner. Yes, and I did see Ike and Tina perform there a number of times. I had a few other groups. Chuck Berry had performed there, and Bob Cuban had performed there, and
Great talent.
some other but yeah, they were regulars every Tuesday night, and then sometimes they'd be there on weekends. And yeah, the memories from George Edick's Imperial Club, and the building is vacant now. I wish they would do something with it,
Resurrect that.
turn it into a museum or something. But as I understand it, it sat vacant for a number of years, and I'm not sure what the future holds for that building.
The blessings we have and the talent we have seen come through our area is truly mind-blowing. Let's see. Oh, you're welcome, Marquee Media. So Marla set that interview up with us with the Ice Carnival. Marla, thank you so much.
Yeah.
The bunny was amazing. Absolutely. So again, Dan Gray. So are you going to do a Monica Mobile at his restaurant? It would be fun to watch and a lot of us to go.
Come on down.
Hey, good idea. So we do this show. It's something that's really starting. Let me put it up on the screen, actually, because we have many coming up. So we do. We are actually going to Bike Stop Cafe next Thursday. I hope the weather cooperates. On January 18th, we're going to start a new segment called Positive Talk Time. Paw Animals. You know I love animals, and I know you do as well.
Certainly.
Out at Yuppie Puppy Pet Spa in Cottleville, but it's more about the rescue aspect of what they do.
Yeah.
Yuppie Puppies Forever Rescue. So that's actually starting on February 1st. And then we're going to Espresso Yourself, which is in the Southampton area.
Yeah.
Jules and her sister Tracy own that. Sister's Sandwich Shop on February 22nd. And then we go into the big Positive Talk Time that's every other Thursday.
That would work perfectly with our dog Dolly.
Let's talk with Michelle and talk about
Yeah.
traveling on
Figuring
Route
a date.
66 and then hopping off and going to Bourbon. If you all would be willing to travel there, Carrie, I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, that is a great idea.
I'm going to take one final break. And when we come back, I want Dan to think about his absolute favorite story. This is going to be hard in 5+ decades. Favorite story that you ever covered. Okay. And then maybe the one that took you out of your comfort zone the most.
Oh, okay.
Like that?
Yeah.
All right.
Fine.
More with Dan Gray when we return.
Yeah.
Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online envitahealthandwellness.com.
As long as you want.
That's right. He just said, how long does the show go, Monica? And I said, as long as I want. It's my show. Let's talk about that. It's the Real Monica Adams Show with the real Dan Gray. Stepping away from me after 30 years, a lot of people said, why are you stepping away? There's a lot of negativity in that business. There's a lot of waking you up with really horrible, hard stories, right? But the thing that I wanted to do was find solutions for the hate that's out there to try to eradicate it. There are a lot of good things that we did in this business, though, also, but I wanted all of the show to be about positivity, shining the spotlight on wonderful people, on wonderful businesses. If there are hard things to talk about in the world, that yes, we put it out there, but we don't keep harping on them. We don't show you images that might really scar you for the rest of the day. There's a lot of power given to the business that we were in of how the day was started and then why you're in such a horrible mood and you wonder why. And it's all on maybe what you saw in the morning. So that's why I stepped away. But I will forever thank the walk that I had, as of course Dan will. So I asked Dan going into the break, if you could, and I know it's hard in 50 years, do you have a favorite story?
Well, there are a couple of them. One is I got to interview President George H.W. Bush, not the recent President Bush, but his father, at the White House. And one interesting note about that, presidents are always running late, and we were sitting in what's called the map room of the White House, and a photographer and we were told, just wait here, the president will be here, and he'll be coming. And he was running late, and all of a sudden I heard a commotion going on in the hallway outside. And I kind of walked to the hallway, stick my head out. Secret Service is there, kind of holding everybody back. And here comes the president and his entourage and a bunch of people coming in from outdoors into the White House. And he's walking into the hallway, and he stops and he turns and he says to one of his aides around him, "Where are the dogs?" And I'm looking around. What do you mean? And he had, what was her name? Millie and her and Ranger. Millie was a Springer Spaniel. Her son was called Ranger. He said, "Where are the dogs?" And somebody ran back outside to go get the dogs.
They run away?
No, they were just running out, running around in the yard outside in the White House. And so he wanted the dogs with him. So somebody went and got the dogs. And in comes Millie, all prim and proper, walking in like a queen. And in comes Ranger, who's just kind of bouncing off the walls as he walks in. And so he took the dogs into a meeting that he had, and later I found out the meeting was with not an ally prime minister from the Middle East, but someone who could be considered not an enemy, but not friendly to the United States. And I thought, what an unusually great way to break the ice.
With the dogs.
Bring my dogs in.
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
And he goes, to the prime minister of Lebanon, I think, hey, here's my dogs, and they start petting, and I thought, wow, that was really cool, that he would bring in the dogs like that. Now, and I just thought, and he was a big dog lover, and his wife, Mrs. Bush, had written a book from the point of view of Millie, the dog. Okay. And so I got one of those, and she had autographed it and all that stuff. So, and that was great. That was fun. One of the most challenging stories I did happened right in front of me while I was there. It was in 1987. I was working in Sacramento, California, at a TV station there, Channel 13, and we were covering the World Series, which was an all Bay Area World Series with the San Francisco Giants against then the Oakland Athletics, the Oakland A's, and they were playing at what was then Candlestick Park in San Francisco. And it was October in 1987. And we were doing a 4 p.m. live newscast from Candlestick Park. We were an ABC station, and ABC was carrying the World Series. And so at about 4:58, we say, good night from San Francisco. Stay tuned for Game 3 of the World Series. Coming up next here on Channel 13, we'll be back at 11 o'clock. And then we throw it to ABC, and the World Series they'd have Game 3 of the World Series. That was at 4:58. At 5:04 p.m., a 7.1 earthquake hit.
Oh, wow.
The San Francisco area. It was called the Loma Prieta earthquake, which is a small town in the Bay Area. Boom, 7.1 earthquake hit. And I remember standing in the parking lot of the ballpark and feeling it underneath. And it was like you were standing on a mattress. And it was like somebody was picking up the mattress and just up and down. And I was looking at all this, the TV trucks with their masts in the air and the satellite equipment, and they were all going like this.
Scary.
And it was like, no, we weren't injured, but it was 7.1 earthquake.
That's huge.
That I was in.
Right.
Not just covering.
Are we going to get out of this?
And so that was the most challenging. And then we just spent the next week covering, the aftermath of the earthquake in San Francisco in '87. And of course, that was the year they canceled the World Series, and they because of the earthquake, and they had to, and then it wasn't picked up until the following year. But that was the most challenging. We went to a television station in San Francisco, slept on the full floor of the newsroom for a couple of nights, working with them and covering their, using their photographers and their video and stuff, and doing live reports back to Sacramento. But that was the most challenging because I didn't have change of clothes. I was expected to be back at home that night. So, it was, it was there. It was there. And when you're in the middle of an earthquake of 7.1 magnitude, you think, how small am I in this whole universe?
Point. Right.
There are forces and powers beyond our control, and that we have to respect and understand. And I think it kind of brings you, brings your perspective. Yeah, it certainly does. And
you're a faith-based man.
Yeah, and that was most challenging. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when we think about the blessings around us, we think about,
again, we have no control over that. When it's our time, it's our time. But you wonder, like, I just made it through that.
Yeah.
You have been through so much, and you've interviewed so many people. Fun times. We just showed some celebrities. Fun times, hard times. I remember you covering Ferguson, which I thought was extremely difficult, and some of the attacks that went against you.
Yeah, there were. That was the what were called the Stockley protests following Ferguson.
Jason Stockley.
The Ferguson. The Ferguson riots and protests had preceded the Stockley protests, but the ground was set for more protests when Officer Stockley was accused of murder, killing a suspect, and he was found not guilty by a judge, and there were protests in the street in downtown St. Louis, and we were there. I was there with a photographer, and we were at 10th and Market in downtown St. Louis, and standing there shooting the protesters who had the intersection blocked, and police were letting them do whatever, march wherever they wanted. And so my photographer and I were going, towards some of the protesters, and the protesters saw me and started yelling at me and attacking me. I just represented the media, I guess, and
they see a Fox mic flag though, and so they associated with Fox National.
Probably they did, yeah, and that was you would get that a lot,
right?
Working for a Fox affiliate,
right?
If you see the Fox flag on the microphone, they didn't necessarily differentiate between the network and the local station, and so they started hurling verbal assaults at me, throwing water bottles at me, and things like that. So I told our photographer, let's go.
Yes.
And so we just started walking away. And as I was walking away, I got hit in the head 3 times with water bottles and left at that point. And we went back to the station. But yeah, that was kind of scary.
It was scary. I was so worried about you that day because we had all heard what was going on. And I'm like, Dan?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, let's get him back here and let's keep him safe.
Yeah.
But does it make you at that point, as you get back into the truck and you're back with your photographer and you're safe and you're going back home, realize, because he's a big supporter of what my husband does, make you realize what an officer goes through on a regular basis?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a big supporter of law enforcement from day one, even before that, and understanding that they, every day, they face the unknown, and God love them. You can't pay them enough.
Because you realized you were able to, yes, you got hurt, you got hit by, you were able to walk away though.
Yeah.
They had to stay and take that and do on a daily basis. Again, wherever your thoughts are, and again, freedom of speech, yes, protesting, but it's when it goes dangerous and when you're putting people in harm's way. You can't support that. I don't know why anybody would ever support that. But that's one of the things we've talked about, Dan, on past shows is where we are in the world now and what these things do to us, right? It's what's on here. Yeah. We believe everything it says.
Right.
I had a gentleman on that talked about that being the polarization, tribalization, polarization, and eventual killing, because it gets to a point where there's just a lack of respect that people don't care to just kill someone. And that's where the world is. And that's really why we started the show of, oh my gosh, how can we have possibly gone to that extreme? We've got to figure this out.
Right. And staying positive, my goodness, even if we have that technology, there's a way to be positive about the cell phones or computers. There's a way to, cleanse your mind and understand that there is, a way to stay positive and to spread that positivity and to be grateful that we have that technology to be used for something that can help someone else.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap up, Pam says this is a great show. I miss Dan Gray. Glad you got him on. I am as well. And great stories. Thanks for sharing. We could go on for hours and hours, but I want to have him and all of you get on. I mean, we still have a ton of people on, which is awesome. I want you to go and visit Dan and Michelle at Bourbon Cafe and Coffee Saloon.
You can visit our Facebook page, Bourbon Cafe and Coffee Saloon, for more information for all the events coming up. And, we'll have another Bourbon's Got Talent event coming up at the end of this month.
You're emceeing all those?
Yeah, I'll be emceeing that one, and whatever your talent might be, you're juggling or a magician or singing. We get a lot of singers and guitar players and keyboard players and that kind of things. And they're really pretty good. Ruby Lee actually performed.
Is she coming, or she already did?
She had performed a couple of years ago.
Oh, before The Voice.
Before The Voice.
Isn't she
because
amazing?
she was at a bar performing across the street from
and you
us.
heard her yodeling?
And we heard her. Michelle heard her, and they came over. Ruby and her mom and dad came over and had lunch, and one day, and we introduced us, and we had another singer who was on stage at the time, who invited anybody to come up, and so invited her to come up and with her guitar.
Did your jaw just drop?
And yeah, I mean, and she was
So
like
talented.
amazing, at what was she, 14 then? And now she's 16, 17, whatever she is now. I'm not sure. But yeah, she was amazing then. And everybody kind of just froze when she sang a song. And it was like, okay.
And she's so humble. She was on the show about a month ago, and I wish I could. Well, they're not secured just yet, but I have some big announcements to make. Of she and I, we're going to be kind of packaged together. I'm going to bring her on stage for probably 3 concerts that she has coming up.
Nice.
I have fallen in love with that family.
Yeah. They're
So
great people.
unbelievably talented.
Yeah.
All right, before we wrap up, let me make sure. I know there's a lot of comments that Dan and I can both go back to. I will be putting it on my places to go list.
Definitely.
Sounds like a fun day trip. Yes, Ruby, we absolutely love you. Hey, Dan, looking good. So that's actually what I was just going to say. So what was it like for you to finally go gray, my friend?
I know.
I love
yeah.
it. You look so handsome. I love it. The silver fox.
The silver fox, yeah. Yeah, well, I admit I used to color my hair there in the TV days. And then when all this business of medical care started and I was off TV, I just decided
embrace it.
Don't do it anymore. And so I, let it go gray, and this is the way it is,
Devilishly handsome.
That's
if I can say that.
Sure, you can say it. And it's fine. I don't mind it, and yeah, most people say, wow, it looks pretty good. So, thanks.
It does.
I didn't know, what kind of reaction I would get, but I like it. It's okay.
I love it.
I spend less money coloring it.
See, yeah, you're feeling our pain. It is a lot of money. All right, my friend. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Give me a big hug.
Okay.
It is so
good to see you.
Okay, so we're going to be in Cabo in 2025 renewing our vows, and he's going to marry us again. I'm not marrying him.
No. Jim, once again, please.
Oh, we love you. We love you. Give my love to Michelle, and let's talk about doing the Real Monica Adams show in Bourbon.
That would be a hoot.
Dan Gray, the one and only real Dan Gray. Thank you all so much again for joining in for a wonderful edition of the Real Monica Adams Show. We are here always again on Wednesdays and Fridays. And one more time, this is the final day before prices go up. Don't forget, Cultivating a Vision for 2024 Part 2. Final day, go to our website, TheRealMonicaAdams.com. It's under events, and the event will be January 24th. I just want to make sure that you don't have to pay extra, but the ticket prices will go up after today. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being a part of today's show. And as I always say, go out, dream big, be anything you want to be in the world, but before you're anything, be kind. God bless you all. Have a great day.